Okay, so what we're going to talk about tonight is how you guys can build teams that can change the world, because you all want to change the world, right? Just a quick question before we start. How many people here have been part of a data competition before? 1, 2, 3. I knew you had. 3, 4. You've only organized. For those that have participated on a competition, so John, when you participated in the competition, you just took a bite, so sorry. What was kind of your purpose? Why did you do it?
To learn more about. I wanted to learn Python better and have some of these people that were data scientists teach me more things about like machine learning.
Okay, so yeah, so John wanted to learn more about Python and machine learning and stuff, and so yeah, awesome. Okay, great. So there's lots of reasons why you might want to be joining a data competition, why you might want to participate, and by the end of tonight, you might even have some more reasons why you want to do it. My name's Brad Stone. I'm a director at Brigham Young University. That's where I work. I've been working in IT leadership for over 20 years now, and helping to put together teams that, what I like to call them, is create technology magic, okay? They create experiences that delight people with hiding the technical complexity. And I started working with Big Data Utah a little over 5 years ago, and wanted to learn more about what's all this big data thing. And I remember Nick teaching me about Hadoop. You know, if you remember that or not, Leonardo. He was like, okay, yeah, no, here's kind of some basics of Hadoop. But anyway, and so after a few months after we joined, then they announced a data competition. It was for air quality, okay? And I'm like, okay, great. I know about forming other kinds of technical teams. What's different about a data science team? And how would you put that together? Would there be some different dynamics? And so I thought, maybe I'll join a team and kind of watch the dynamics, see how it goes, right? So we had a meetup like this, and people started forming teams, and I'm like, hey, I'd like to be on your team, and I was kind of browsing around, and sure enough, no one wanted to be on their team. They're like, you're not a data scientist, you can't even program very well. Okay, why would we want you on our team, right? And they were nicer about it than that. They had their own teams all set up and so forth. And so I'm like, okay, fine, I'll just make my own team up. So I created my own team and started asking people if they wanted to join or not. And we'll talk about how I did that tonight. But at the end of the day, we ended up with 10 people on the team. These were bigger teams then. There were 10 people on the team. I believe only 2 of them had ever met before on the team. Everyone else was had never met anyone else on the team. And we ended up taking first place in state on it, and found some really cool insights that about air quality that helped to build on what already was known about it in the valley. So when you're thinking about why you want to join a team, right? It might just be to learn more about data science, but maybe by the end of tonight, your goal might be a little bit bigger, okay? Might be to learn a little bit more about how can we really change the world with data science, instead of just learning the latest data science routines and things like that, okay? All right, so as we go through and talk about some of these things tonight, I'm going to give you 8 suggestions that you might want to consider when you are looking at participating in this challenge. But it kind of all starts with an idea, all right? It might be an idea that you have about smart cities, connected communities, something maybe you've personally experienced, okay? Maybe it's something, I'm just thinking off the top of my head, how is it that we can figure out when garbage collection is on a holiday? That's a big problem. I don't know. Some sort of a connected thing to solve that, or something like that. Some kind of an idea that you've experienced personally. And it's good to start with an idea. I really like this quote. Okay, everyone who's ever taken a shower has had an idea. It's the person who gets out of the shower, dries off, and does something about it who makes a difference. So you're going to take that idea and you're going to do something with it. Okay. You're going to want to expand on the idea. Is it just your problem, or are other people kind of experiencing the same problem as well, or what? Kind of grow that a little bit. But here's the first thing that you're going to want to consider for the competition. You're going to want to have a clear goal. all right? So the competition that we were part of, the goal was the competition was around air quality. Well, that's pretty big, right? There's a lot of things you can do with air quality, and teams did in that. But you're going to want to narrow it down to the point where it's actually something you can come up with a solution for or some new insights on, okay? So, anyone know where this picture was taken? Yesterday? No, it wasn't yesterday. No, this was taken a number of years ago. I was coming back from skiing at Snowbird, and this is in Little Cottonwood Canyon, and I saw this picture of that, so I took a picture of that. But that's Salt Lake Valley. You can't even quite see what's going on down there. This was the goal that our team had. When we were first forming the team, we kind of did this and we refined it a little bit. But our goal was to improve health. There was other teams that were dealing with other things about air quality, but ours was about health. And we're going to specifically improve health by exploring solutions to the times of the most pollution, which turn out to be winter inversions, okay? And the concentration of the worst pollutants, which we found out were these nasty little things called PM 2.5s, okay? And they're really quite toxic, okay? And we have quite a bit of them here in Utah, more than our fair share during winter inversions. So that was our goal. So you can see kind of how we scoped it down, and that drove like a lot of decisions moving forward. It limited the number of data sets we were looking at because we kind of knew what we were looking for, which saved us time for other things that could come along down the road. So everything's going to build off of this goal. So early on, your team's going to want to solidify on a workable goal. Okay? So that's number one. Okay, so you've got your goal. You're ready to go. You're all excited, right? You're going to solve the connected city problem. So are you going to try to do it alone? Do as few people as possible on your team, right? Okay, this is number two. Commit to a team, okay? My daughter, she did this young entrepreneur course, and there's a great saying coming out of it, that just showing up is 80% of it, okay? So commit to a team, get into a team, or form a team, or something like that. Why would working in a team for this or in real life be better than going at it alone? What do you guys think?
So you get a wide variety of different viewpoints and abilities.
Yeah, wide variety of different viewpoints and abilities. Those are two different things, right? Everyone in this room looks at a problem a different way. And that is so helpful when you're trying to find problems. The more eyes you have on it, the different ways you're doing it. Abilities. Everyone in this room has a different set of abilities. And using those in unique ways will also be a magnifier as well. Okay, good. So, team. Team is better than going at it alone. There's a couple of other things. The more people you have kind of working on it, the easier it is to spread the work around. You can get more things done, okay? So there's another advantage. It's really easy in the competition to kind of get hyper-focused on, hey, we're going to come up with this great thing, and we're going to win the competition. How many points do I have on the board, right? But you're going to make personal connections, not only with your team members, but others in the community when you're doing this. And today, when I look back, that's more valuable to me than the competition. I have friends on the team that I made, on our team we did, that I still stay in contact with. I've got a meeting next week where one of the guys that was on my team is conference calling in from New York to be on a meetup that I've started up. It's, by the way, it's the InfoGov Utah meetup that we're doing for information governance. We're going to be talking about virtual databases and data catalogs. But anyway, he's going to phone in and be part of that because we're still in touch on stuff, okay? All right, so, and they're just more fun. It's more fun to work on a team than by yourself. It really is, okay? Okay, so I'm going to show you here a couple short video clips of two sets of teams. I just kind of want you to watch these, okay? Okay, so there's one. Okay, here's the other one. It's just fun to watch, isn't it, these guys? Okay, so what are some of the differences you noticed about those two teams, those two sets of teams?
Age.
Age. Okay, age, height, athletic ability. Okay, good. We got those out of the way. What else? What?
Organization.
Organization, what do you mean by that?
Well, the older ones seem to have, well, of course, have more experience and maturation, and they're working as a team.
Okay, so they're working as a team better. What does that mean, though? What are you seeing that makes you believe this group here is working more as a team?
They were passing to each other.
Passing to each other. Okay, good.
What their other person is expected to do.
Ah.
And so they can work off that.
Yeah, they know kind of where the other person is expected to do, where they're going to be. They can work off of that. Good. Do we have another hand?
Well, just kind of along those lines, everyone has a position and a role that plays to their strengths or whatever.
Very good. A position and a role that plays to their strengths. Yeah.
They knew where the goal was.
They knew what the goal was. Yeah. Did you like those little kids? Like, where's their goal? In fact, I don't know if you could hear, but in that video clip, the coach is like, "Oh, you're going the wrong way." The guy turns around, turns the other way. You know? There was no goalies. What's going on? Okay. Yeah.
So the small kids were having fun while playing.
Okay, the smart kids were having fun. The big guys, not so much, you don't think? I don't know, man. These guys look like they're having a... Has anyone ever been to a professional soccer match before? Have you? Yeah, so I actually lived in England for 2 years, and we got to go to a couple of... Electric. So much energy in these things. They have a lot of fun, yeah. Okay? Did you have something, Jonathan?
I was going to say, in the stage of team building, more a mature team would be a team where people can actually read each other and understand each other.
Okay, good. Yeah, read each other, understand each other, kind of being able to anticipate what's going to happen. Yeah, yeah, great. So, so this swarm ball they've got going on right here, right? Everyone's just kind of around the ball, and right. And over here, look, you can see how they're all spaced out, right? And they're passing, and they're okay. So I've seen data teams and other technical teams that act like this and like this. Okay, all right. So, so here's the third thing for tonight. Okay. Identify your team roles. Okay, you're going to get your team together. What are the roles you're going to need to have a successful team? This is one of the biggest deals, I think, that helped our team to be successful, because early on we said, what do we need to have and how are we going to get it? Okay, so identify those team roles. Okay, so, and I'm going to give you some examples of ones you may want to think about having on your team. All right? Okay, some obvious ones. Probably going to want a data scientist or two on the team. Okay, but data scientists come in lots of different flavors, right? Do you need someone that knows machine learning? Do you need someone who's good at statistics? Do you need some, those types of things, right? So think about that and what your needs might be in data scientists. Okay, so you're going to need those. My guess is that you probably are going to guess this one too, since a lot of them are here. Some kind of computer programmer, right? Software developer, something like that. Turns out a big thing in doing real life data is cleaning data, and you can either do it by hand, which is impossible, or you can automate it, which requires a computer programmer, okay? So, or if you're obtaining data sets and doing screen scraping or other types of stuff, you need programmers to do that, okay? So that's another role you're gonna want. Data visualizations, okay? More junior data scientists or people that work in the data industry believe that they're being paid because they know how to work data. That's not true. When you get more seasoned, you understand that you're getting paid because you can make a business impact with information, right? People don't really care about the data at the end of the day. They care about how that data will help the company make more money or save money or be more efficient or things like that, okay? And in order to do that, you need to be able to show people what your results are. And you're going to need some kind of data visualizations to be able to do that, right? To tell stories. Right? So how many people in this room have some kind of a background in doing data visualizations? Wow, lots of people. Okay, great. Okay, so that's awesome. All right, so those are some that are pretty obvious. Let me give you a couple that may not be as obvious. Okay, team lead. All right, identify someone who's going to be your team lead. What is a good team lead? What does a team lead do? What do you guys think?
I think in teams that I've worked with, a good team lead is someone that can sort of see the movement that the team needs to and also see not just the movement, but also the points at which they'll pass, and essentially see. I think the workflow is a good word for it, and it's like I think some people are naturally gifted at seeing sort of sizing people up and seeing where they fit into that process, and seeing where problems may arise, and if problems arise, how to problem solve them quickly. And yeah, I don't think everyone has that skill set.
Okay.
At least. Well,
So-
I'm not making. I'm just thinking of people that I've worked with.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
No, it's good. It's like, how do we fit people together in the right way, anticipating where problems are. I'm going to use a word you didn't use, but it sounded a lot like, in the team metaphor, a coach perhaps, right? You know, it's kind of helping people to do that. You had some...
So I think team leading need to have direction to the team, like what we are going to do for the next step, and the whole process will be like, and he maybe don't know anything, but he knows who is good for to do the job.
Okay, so you made a couple of points there about helping to direct what the team is going to do. You said he may not know anything, but he knows it. So actually, that's a really good point, and I can speak from experience, right? Team leaders don't know anything. No, no. So let me kind of nuance that one just a little bit, okay? Let me tell you what a team leader is not. A team leader doesn't come in and say, here's what we're going to do, guys. Everyone do this. You know, I've got the best idea, right? The best team leaders are those that see themselves in a support role, a servant role, and their main job, I believe, is to hold the vision for the team. They don't make the vision, they hold the vision for the team. They're working with the team together to come up with what they want to accomplish, and then they make sure that the team stays on track with what they agreed to do. That type of stuff, okay? So, team lead. This is one of the ones that probably was a major contributor to us winning the competition. Project manager, okay? Guarantee you, especially if you have a lot of technical people on the team, they get really excited about the data and wow, look at all this latest machine learning algorithm and stuff like that, and you spend a lot of time playing with the data. And we saw this happen in a number of different competitions to the point where they're getting up against the deadline and they don't have time to put something together to actually say, here's what our results were in a way that we can present it to the judges. And it looks rushed and it's obvious, okay? I'm gonna go through later on today some of the sample workflow that you'll see, and project manager, having someone on the team that's playing that role to keep you on track. Hey guys, we have 2 weeks to do this, then we have 4 weeks to do this, then we have 3 weeks to do this, and we have to be done by then. So guess what? There's never enough time to do everything you'd want to do. You need to have deadlines. That's real life, and that's what the competition you'll succeed on if you play it like real life. Okay? Project manager. Make sure you get one on your team. How many people here have actual project management experience? Okay, so we've got a handful. Keep your hands up for just a second. Okay, so the rest of you that don't, look at these hands. Okay, here's some easy pickings for project managers. Okay, okay, thank you. Subject matter expert. Okay, here's another role. If you're doing something specific with traffic or with utilities or with something else, right? In our case, it was weather, right? And air quality stuff, right? You're going to want to have someone on the team, if you can, that's a subject matter expert on that stuff. They'll have insights that will take you too long to figure out on your own. Okay? So look for that. We had a guy that was really clever at weather on our team. He was better at that than he was at data science, right? And it was a big help. Okay. Presentations. Okay? Someone that knows how to put together a presentation and stand in front of people and talk. At the end of the day, are we having judge presentations on this competition?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So, you think about it ahead of time and have someone identified who will help to coordinate the presentation, or how are you going to do that in your team so that you can be gathering things along the way that you need to create your presentation for the end. If you wait till the end and you go, wait a minute, we forgot to gather that picture or that thing along the way, it makes it a lot harder, okay? So if you identify that up front, that helps you.
That'll for sure be one of the events too, is how to present and how to speak and stuff like that.
Okay? And,
Do that frequently.
and not only is it important for the competition judges and stuff, right? But in real life, this is how you get things done. If you can't convince someone of some cool insight that you've got, even though you know it's amazing and life-changing, if you can't share that in a way that's effective, it doesn't matter, okay?
So he's kind of like a mouthpiece.
Could be, yeah. And it's not even so much one person as well, maybe you want one person to coordinate it, but decide among your team how you're going to do it. When we ended up doing our judge presentation, we had identified a number of key members that it was basically who wants to be part of presenting. Some did, some didn't, and we kind of spread it up amongst their expertises to do different parts. I don't know if you guys remember or not, when we actually did ours in front of the judges, the person that was heading up our data science part was phenomenal. She is just amazing. And she gave this great presentation, and a number of the judges came up afterwards and says, wow, it was really great to see someone that really knows their data science and that did that. So anyway, that's
She at the time could have out-communicated anybody
yeah.
in the state, maybe
She was great.
anywhere.
Yeah.
How long are these presentations?
That'll depend. Towards the end, we'll see what that comes down to be. It's probably more of like a sales pitch or thing like that. It could be less than 15 minutes. It could be 30 minutes, depending on what it is.
Probably on the more private side, one pitch
Yeah.
deck here, more investor style. And so those will be 15 to 20 minutes.
On
Okay.
the open source side and on the community side, it might be a little bit longer.
I think it
Or
would.
a little better, so not better, but a little more geared for this is everything we did and how we did it and so forth. So I can decide that.
And the question was, like, how long are the presentations at the end? Somewhere between 15 and 30 minutes, depending on different parts. So, okay, great. Now, for those of you that are actually developing a product, maybe on the commercial side, or even looking at a product on the other side, then I would recommend someone that knows product development, product design, product management, that type of stuff, okay? There's a whole science behind that, and if you don't know how to do that, you'll waste a lot of time, all right? How many people here have any kind of a product management, product design background? Okay, one. Okay, awesome. Two. Okay, so these people would know that the importance of doing customer research, for instance, about your idea, and are you really heading towards the right thing, or how to be able to track the feature sets and things that you want to be able to have as part of your product, minimal viable product, that type of stuff. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, product managers. Okay. And then here's one that we didn't think about in our team and ended up being a big deal for us, okay? Some kind of a media communications lead. So it turned out we had some 3 pretty major insights that we had found and we presented on. And we ended up going to the governor's office and talking with Department of Air Quality and the traffic folks, Department of Transportation, and it was great. And we gave them all the information with the details. Media got a hold of it and was like, oh, hey, there's this great data competition, and then they wanted to make it really simple, and so they took some of the findings that we had, which were correlation types of stuff, and changed it into fact type of causal type of stuff, and we didn't really have any way to deal with that at the time, and we ended up with some news stories that came out that were kind of inaccurate and inflammatory, and so anyway, it might be good to think about. Does anyone on your team have some kind of communications? And if someone contacts the team from the media, press, then let's route them through this one person, okay? Because we had them calling like different team members, and people were saying, oh yeah, well on our team we did this, and it was like not coordinated and not good. So anyway, something to think about.
Somebody called me from China, and somebody called me from Colombia to yell at me.
Oh, is that right?
About the results of this. Be cautious about what we do or don't say out there.
Yeah. Okay, so roles. Any questions more about those? Yeah.
So, okay, when it comes to these sort of leadership roles, it sort of ends up being, I think, challenging to either put yourself in one category. Like as I'm looking at this, I feel like I could fill 3 or 4 of these with reasonable ability.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess what I'm wondering is like, does that mean the person how is the team properly organized? Because a lot of people don't have, and I don't mean this, a lot of people don't have the self-awareness to realize their strengths or deficits. Some people really know them, and I've seen that as and a lot of times in order to not offend, people are like, okay, well you feel comfy in this, so yeah, but I guess what I'm saying is there does seem a lot of nuance to applying these roles to a team. In addition, between 3 and 6, some of these will have to be co-realized.
Yeah, and you may not want all. So the question was, is when you're forming the team, you're trying to get the right people in. How do you make sure you get the right people in? Can people fill more than one role? You know, what's the thing behind that? And you're right. It takes experience to do that. It takes trial and error. When you first start the team, like if you're starting the team yourself, you're going to want to think of what are the most critical roles for my particular project that I want to have. Okay? Pick 2, 3, whatever, 4, whatever they are, and start with those. And then when you get the team kind of formed, then you can kind of say, okay, what are our assets? Okay? And get them talking about, who's got different skill sets and so forth, right? And then you can kind of, a lot of times it'll just fall out. It's like, oh, this guy does project management for work. Let's let him run with that one, okay? Or whatever, okay? And so you'll see kind of who has experts and divvy it up and stuff like that. Okay, good. Okay, yeah.
One other role I think that is important to have up there is quality assurance and testing.
Okay, great. Yeah, so the other role that we don't have up here, one that he suggests, is quality assurance and testing. Okay, why would you say that?
Because if you have a flaw in your analysis, at the end you pretty much, you lose credibility. If you have media or communication attention, you don't have a solid, reproducible analysis. You got potential, but you got credibility.
Credibility issue if you have, if your data is not sound, right? Your science is not sound, right? So are we checking each other? We got some kind of a quality, component. Very good, excellent. Okay, yep.
Just one other thing, since it seems like one of the objects of this program is to increase people's ability. I mean, it may not always be best that, let's say, like to use your example of you're a project manager at work, to take the project manager role. That way somebody else can gain some valuable experience in that area.
Okay, so that's a good point. There may be a person that wants to grow in a particular area and may want to take on this role. You may want to consider whether or not the amount of growth they want in this particular role, you'll have the time to devote to that, right? So if, as a team, you want to learn how to create data science insights together as a team, then you're going to want to probably limit the amount of time you're spending on teaching this guy how to do project management, for instance, things like that. So you might want to play to the strengths there on the roles, and then all of you learn together about how to actually create solutions. So that'd be just my suggestion on that.
Looks like there needs to be some cross-training there anyway, because there's more than 6 roles.
Of course, yeah. So cross-training on stuff. You're going to have different people doing stuff, and yeah, you'll all learn stuff on it. So, okay, so you've had the first 3. Here's number 4, okay? You got the roles, time to fill them. Recruit, okay? You got to recruit people. You got to go get them on your team, right? You got the team going, recruit them. How are you going to do that? How are you going to recruit people? What's one method you could use?
Free food.
Free food? Okay. I didn't have the budget for that. Okay, but anyway, okay. You can Slack. Okay, you can post something on the Slack channel. Hey, I'm looking for this. Other types of social networks. Good. Any other ideas? Interview? Yeah, you could. If you want to be a little more formal about it, you could do some interviews and stuff like that.
You advertise.
And how would you advertise, Pat?
You tell them what you're thinking about and what you're doing and what ideas you have.
Okay.
The more formed idea and more formed thing, people will gravitate to that because it seems like you know what you're doing.
Exactly. So you have formed ideas and you can tell people, here's what we're doing, here's what we're looking for, and then people are much more likely to come in, right?
Where do you advertise, though?
On Slack.
On Slack.
We'll put it on, we'll allow that posting going on Slack.
Okay, yeah, you could also stand up in the meetup and say, hey guys, we're forming a team, here's what we're doing on it. If you're interested in joining us, then here's where you go do it. You put a QR code with Bitly on it or something, and people can go sign up on a Google form. This is the form we used for our team, okay? Ready to join? So after we had announced it out, ready to join, want to join Team Winversion? Winversion was our name. okay? Simply answer the questions below and we'll get you involved. Name, email address, phone numbers, skills that may be useful to the team, and then I'm willing to take one of the following roles: data scientist visualization, data scientist analysis, weather expert liaison, web collaboration lead, for example, Trello. Let's talk about how I can best contribute, okay? That's how we started our thing. That's how I started, because I was the only one, right? I just started the team, put that thing up. We did do a domain name for ours, which made it easier for people to find. So, and also for other communications coming down. So that's another idea you may want to do, okay? Okay, so recruit. Think broader also than this group. All right? So for instance, let's say that you have this great idea for a product and you need someone with product experience, right? One of the other community groups I do quite a bit of work with is Product Hive. About 3,000 people in the technology corridor that are focused on product design, UX, UI types of things, okay? And so, you know, going to their meetup, there's people there that are interested in getting more involved in data science. But they may not know as much about they may not know about the competition at all. But you could post to their Slack channel or go to one of their meetups and ask a question. Say, hey guys, we've got a data competition going on and we need a product manager, right? They got some really talented people in that group. So things like that, okay, for example. There are other places to get people besides this room or even Big Data Utah, okay? Okay.
They had a lot of people at their meetup yesterday.
At Product Hive? Yeah.
Jump. It was down at Jump.
Exactly, yeah. I was helping set up the stuff there. I had to leave before the meeting started, but yeah, at Jump, yeah. So, okay, great. So recruiting, okay? This was what our team was. This was our team. These are the roles that we ended up with. These are the 10 people. This is the guy I'm on the phone call with tomorrow, Mike Chen. Marissa Saunders is the person that did that great presentation on it, okay? But this is the roles that we had. John St. John was our weather guy. We had a Hadoop expert over here, Anant. Turned out we didn't end up using Hadoop because as we got into the data more, we found out that the sets weren't big enough to justify the overhead for doing that. So anyway, that's what ours looked like, okay? All right, so there's 4. Here's number 5. You got your team. You recruited the people in it, or at least got some started, right? What next? Establish communications, okay? This is all about how are you going to communicate in your team. Everyone's going to be on different schedules. You're going to be in different locations. How are you going to be able to establish communications so that you can communicate effectively, all right? This is all about how you're going to track let's just say communications for non-time bound. Is email going to be your thing, some kind of email distribution list? Are you going to use Slack? Are you going to use something else for that? What about video conferencing types of solutions? GoToMeeting, Zoom, something like that. You're going to want to have some meetings where not everyone's going to be able to be there. You're going to want to screen share. There's a lot of free stuff out there too. You could use Google's Hangouts. Thank you. Google Hangouts, right? Okay, how are you going to do that? How are you going to deal with the video conferencing thing? You're going to have data sets. Where are you going to store those so that team members can pass them off from one to another as they're going through the different phases? Gathering data, cleaning data, using data, things like that. You're going to need some storage space. You're going to use Dropbox for that. You're going to use an FTP site. What are you going to use? Okay? Just get those kind of nailed down ahead of time. Different people in your group may have those resources already or some skills behind them, and they can help contribute parts to it. Okay? But get the communications figured out ahead of time, because you could waste a lot of time with people not being able to participate as effectively as they could if you don't have communications in place. Okay? All right. So now your team's feeling pretty good, right? You kind of got the goal, you got the members, you know who's doing what, you've got communications in place. This is feeling pretty good, right? Okay, time to take it to a new level. Number 6, collaborate with experts, okay? Believe it or not, there are experts in your area that you're going to be doing, that you're going to be working on, okay, your subject area. And many of these experts are very willing to come in and collaborate with your team and help to train you up on things that you may not be aware of, okay? I highly recommend you leverage that. Find them, ask them, okay? 80% is just showing up, okay? So just ask them and see if they'll be willing to do it. We had 3 experts that we brought in that consulted with our team. Okay, these are the three. Brian Hughes, he is one of the principals that started SoLogic, root cause analysis company. We wanted to get to some of the root causes of why PM 2.5 was being formed in the first place. And that was one of the insights that we came up with. It was really cool. And we used Brian's methodology to be able to do that. Brian's done some work with BYU before where we do root cause analysis for service failures and things. So he came in, flew in on his own dime for us, okay? Taught the team how to do stuff around root cause analysis, and we were able to use that, okay? Dr. David Whiteman knows more about inversions than probably anyone on the planet, okay? He studied it. He has lots of good data sets. Our goal was to improve health during inversions, right? Well, what is an inversion? What's the scientific definition of an inversion? Well, he taught us what it was. He even had data sets around them, okay, that he let us use. We built upon his best model of predicting when inversions would happen and made it better and was able to give it back to him. We increased the predictability on the model on it. That was cool. Dr. Arden Pope at BYU is probably the foremost expert in the world on PM 2.5s, okay, on that particular pollutant. And he came and met with our team and taught us all about what he had done and shared information with us. That put us miles ahead of what it would have taken us to figure out. And we felt like we were starting to build where these guys had already gotten to instead of starting from scratch, right? Okay, so when you're looking at your problem, think about that. Who are the experts in your area? Let's give them a call. Let's go visit them. Hey, can you spend a couple hours meeting with us one night and sharing with us what you know? And here's what we're trying to do with it. We're trying to bring some new insights here using data science that we think will be important and impact the community. A lot of people want to be a part of that, and we're willing to help out and give some of their time and resources to do that. Okay? Okay, so there's 6. Now you're feeling pretty good, right? Okay, here's number 7. As you're going through this whole process, record your history, all right? Be taking pictures along the way of what's happening. Screenshots of your data analytics. Even though it's not your final thing, it's seeing the progression along the way of of how your idea has morphed and grown and got more mature along the way, okay? So here's some pictures of our team when we were doing it, okay? We met in different places. Many of the meetings, not everyone could come. There's Brian Hughes there that was teaching us about root cause analysis on that one. But along the way, there's Dr. Pope. We took these photos along the way of what we were, of our progress as we went along the way. It's really hard to see that you're making history in the moment, okay? But when you get back and you look back on it, you say, wow, we came a long way on it, right? Record that. Record your history on it. And if you do it along the way, then who knows? 5 years from now, someone may ask you to give a presentation on what you guys did, and you'll be able to go back to your pictures just like I did and pull up these pictures and put them into this presentation, okay? Okay, so, yeah.
For the public side, is there some sort of, or is there a application like latex or something that we should be using for reproducibility of what we've done?
Okay, so the question is for the public side, we want to be able to reproduce the results of what we've got. Is there some kind of a tool or process for doing that?
We don't have anything planned right now.
Nothing planned.
Again, those resources may come available through Google Cloud or something else, but it's not required for any team to use the resources that we make.
Okay. So there may be some resources available. I can tell you in our experience, when we saw the different teams, it was like, team, choose what works best for you, and then just share what you did. You don't have to do anything extra to make it more standardized. Just share what you did and let other people see it.
Exactly.
Okay.
We're not here to tell the team how to share or what they absolutely have to share.
Mm-hmm.
We're here to say, make a great thing, make a great result, and then tell us about it.
Yeah.
And if there's something out there, then great. If not, you can use whatever you need to.
That being said, reproducibility and everything else adds a lot of validity to what you've done.
Right, yeah.
So it's really good for the scoring, really good for everything else.
Okay, so reproducibility is great for scoring and it'll add to it. Okay, question?
How does one go about finding people who are experts and contacting them.
Okay, so how do you go about finding people that are experts and contacting them and so forth? Okay, it depends on your space, right? So Google's your friend, right? Okay, and and people on your team may have connections as well. Okay, so like for instance, I knew Brian Hughes, so I was able to bring him in. When someone on the team, I think it was our weather guy, put us in touch with Whiteman at the U of U, right? And Dr. Whiteman knew Arden Pope. And so, see, that kind of helped us to bring them together.
So the other thing to add to that is, for everybody that got the wrong QR code, we are recruiting for board members, and some of those board members will have these resources as well. And then we will start asking those board members to provide resources to you. So we are going to help you try to find some of these experts as well. We know how valuable it is. And our goal, remember, our goals are really to make this successful. So we want a good result. So we'll bring in experts too, as much as we can. And we will try to introduce you to them, and whole teams to them, and everybody to them. But that's the goal, is how much you connect with them, that becomes your responsibility.
Okay. So as Pat said, if you get stuck on that, ask the board, and they'll be able to help maybe do that too. Okay, great. Okay, so there's 7 of 8. Okay, here's the last one. The last thing you want to consider when you're working on your team, okay? Stay on schedule. Okay, we talked about that a little bit with the project management person, right? Stay on schedule. Figure out what does your timeline look like and how much time you're going to spend on each part, right? Now, for those of you that haven't been involved in a real-world data project or a data science competition like this, you may not know, what does my timeline look like? So I'm going to tell you. Okay, here is a rough draft of what a data science workflow looks like, all right? So it's a good place to start. There's 7 basic steps on this diagram here, and it's people that have worked with data science will recognize this. First step, understand the business need that you've got, okay? That's really important. When you're talking about your goal and trying to flesh it out and so forth, really understand what it is that you're trying to accomplish here. I took a machine learning class at BYU, and the teacher, first class, was like telling us all these great things you can do with data science and machine learning, and how his classes, in the class, you will work on a real life problem and find these great insights. He says, but you got to understand the business need behind the problem you're solving. One of his classes had put together this amazing predictability model, and they're like, we found this correlation that's just amazing. It's like almost 100% we can predict that if people buy this product, they will also buy this product. And they got into the presentation and they showed the people, and they were all really impressed until they said, you know what, you can't buy this product without that product. They're always sold together. So it was like, so they didn't quite understand the business around what they were doing. So anyway. So understand that, what you're doing, business understanding first. Second, data mining. You got to get access to the data. People were asking, where do you go get data sets, right? That's part of what you're going to learn in this competition, all right? There will be some that are available, but it's really valuable for you to start tracking them down and learning where they're at and that type of stuff, okay? Smart cities, connected communities, you may want government data for that. Okay? If you were going to look for government data, what would be the last part of the domain name of a site you'd be looking for government data? .gov, right? Now, if you're looking for Utah government data, what would the URL be? Utah.gov, and Pat's jumping ahead of me, right? If you're looking for data in Utah for government data, what would it be? Data.utah.gov. Okay, so data.utah.gov is a great site, lots of data sets on there, criminal data sets, traffic data sets, elementary school types of data sets, all kinds of cool data sets, right? And it's all free for you to download on there, and you've already paid for it with your taxes, so go use it. Okay, things like that. Google's your friend. When we were doing the air quality competition, okay, we found out that every airport sends up 2 weather balloons every day. And they measure the pressure and temperature all the way up, that they're going up at certain stages, right? Well, that's pretty cool. So we got 40 years worth of Salt Lake City weather balloon data. That was pretty cool, right? And was able to use that to help us measure when inversions were to happen. So, okay? So data mining. Step 3, data cleansing. Believe it or not, data's ugly, okay? It's not clean. It's dirty, all right? That weather balloon data, for whatever reason, there was some days that they had no data for, okay? Did the balloon not go up? Did the guy get sick that was supposed to send it up? I don't know, okay? But there were holes in it. How are you going to treat that in the data? Are those zeros? Are they nulls? I mean, what are you going to do with that stuff, okay? Do you have other kinds of errors that are in it, or partial sets, or things that you've got to do to clean it up, okay? That's a big part of data science. All of us would love to work with pristine, clean sets. It's not the way it works, okay? So 4, data exploration. So at this point here, you're saying, okay, I've now got some clean data. I'm going to start looking at hypotheses for how things are related, okay? So you're going to start playing with the different data, start seeing what's going on there. 5, feature engineering. You're going to look at this and say, oh, of the 50 or so data elements that we've got that we're tracking, these are our 20 some odd that are most important to us, okay? Let's kind of narrow it down to that. 6, predictive modeling. If you're going to be doing that type of stuff and you're trying to predict things, this is where you're going to be doing your training of your machine learning, that type of stuff. Build your models up. And then the last one, data visualization. Why is that important? Yeah, if you can't sell it, it doesn't matter. It's exactly right, okay? So that's a very important part, right? You're going to have some kind of visualization, some kind of presentation ready to be able to bring back to the business on that, okay? So this is a quick overview of a typical data lifecycle. Sudeep Argwal is an Apple programmer in California, and I contacted him about using this. He has a website down here with a really nice article. It's very readable, talks about all of these, quick read, and will give you an overview of that workflow. Okay? So you've got a big jump right now on the workflow. Okay. Any questions about the life cycle?
The one thing I'll add to that on the Open Data Portal too for Utah is we do happen to know the person behind the Open Data Portal really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
And not only does he work on these sets and stuff, he loves to do data science himself. So honestly, if you give him some problems, he'll typically go out and do it himself and publish it back. If you ask nicely.
So he's saying on the Utah data.utah.gov site, the person that runs that site is very eager to help you with data too. So if we get stuck on stuff, and he is on a mission to work with all government agencies to get their data published up there, okay? So if you need some data that's not on there yet, he just wants a good excuse to go over them and say, the law says you need to have it on this site, and now we have a reason why, so.
Who's that?
What's that? Drew Mingle.
I'm sending him a text right now.
Watch out, Drew, they're coming your way.
Look out, Drew. We'll have him try to have him come out and present too about the portal and stuff like that.
That'd be a good idea.
He does a lot of presentations all the time, and yeah, it's really hard. He has a very, very difficult job trying to get all of these different data points from different parts of Utah. And don't get me wrong, some of these institutions in Utah, of course, are still using AS400 machines and stuff like that. You know, just really old stuff. He has to deal with.
Okay, great. So there's 8 things there that we presented tonight that should help you have a more successful team. Let's review them really quick. 1, have a clear goal. You're starting out. 2, commit to a team. 3, identify the team roles that you want to have on the team. 4, recruit for them. Okay. 5, establish the communications and the tools you're going to use within your team. 6, collaborate with experts. 7, record your history. And 8, stay on schedule. If you do that, I think you'll have a better and more successful team. And maybe one of the most important things I could leave with you is have fun. Okay? That's all I got for you. Are there any last questions that I could help answer about this? Yeah.
Did you guys publish your data?
Did we publish our data? So the insights that we had, we shared with the government agencies. We did not formally publish them in like a journal or anything like that. We also shared them with the competition, so they were available for other people to use that way.
They were available for like 3 or 4 years. On the Big Data Utah side. They were on the same side.
Yeah. We didn't plan time in our timeline to do some kind of a professional publication or anything like that. So, and that wasn't expected.
They stuck with the idea of open sourcing because it was out there and it was available for the data sets and everything else. Just not, we would say we didn't market it or publish it well. but it was available and out there. That was it.
Was available, yeah. Okay, good question. Other questions?
Since it's a 50, whatever, then
501c3.
yeah, that one. Do you have the ability to allow people to have GitHub accounts for free?
For this competition, that'll be a question we can try to find out from a resource. Typically, it won't be that easy to do because, in other words, Utah Geek Events, that is the 501c3 that we run, that Nick and I run, and other people on the board. We are helping to promote the competition and partially sponsor it, but we are not owning the entire competition.
Yeah.
There's other pieces to that as well.
So the question was specifically about GitHub, are there resources to be able to provide that? Now, I'm not the best programmer in the world, but I believe GitHub is free if you keep your sources public, right?
Yes. Once you go private.
Once you go private, then you have to pay for it, right?
Yes.
So anyway, so if it's a public thing anyway, then it's already free.
Yeah. And on those lines, because it's a really valid question, is while you're creating your teams, you're not going to necessarily want all of your code available even on the open public side, right? You may want to keep those as private repos until you're ready to submit.
Okay. Is that because of competition of the people seeing it?
I mean, there's collaboration history and stuff,
Yeah.
so it may be needed for a proof of concept. Like if somebody asks you, did you really work on this thing? And it shows you like, oh, I checked in this piece and
Yeah, I checked in.
I modified this document.
Yeah. Well, so Nick brings up a good point, right? You may want to keep it private and stuff, especially because there might be, competition. I'll tell you, when we approached this competition, our attitude was very inclusive, okay? Anyone that wanted to be on our team was on our team, right? We didn't turn anyone away, and I'd encourage you to try and do that as well. We also weren't trying to keep anything we were doing secret, and we're open with it with people at meetups and things like that. Here's kind of what we're working on, here's some cool insights we had, and we found that to be that collaborative spirit to be rewarding not only for us and others. Because as we talked about our stuff, people would give us other ideas, and we share with them, and everyone wins, and that was great, right? We didn't see it as a cutthroat competition that we just had to win at all costs. It was more, we wanted the experience of doing it. We didn't really, our main goal wasn't to win, really. It was just to get in and have fun and see this good insights and stuff that we had. So we personally were less concerned about were people looking at what we were doing in our code and stuff. But your team might be different. So.
Yeah, we would like to see as much of that collaboration as possible because again, the end goal is to help the community and totally for the open source side of it. That's the end goal. We really do want people to work together on these things.
And it is valuable to score high in the competition and get some of these prizes and stuff like that. And you'll have that window, right, that you're working on, the 6-month or 4-month or whatever it's going to be on it. So there's the game, and then there's the game, right? What relationships did you make during that competition, and how will that help you later on and stuff? So
I'd like to point out that slide that you had all of those pictures. I look at all those people up there, and how many of them now work for companies that we know about or that are senior data scientists in different companies. I think
exactly.
5 of them work in the Valley that I know exactly.
Yeah.
All taking positions.
So think about that too. If you're more inclusive and more collaborative and things like that, you may end up winning the game, even if you don't win the game. So.
What do you do when you kind of run into a rut and everybody's frustrated and you don't know what to do?
Okay, so the question is, if you run into a rut, everyone's frustrated, you don't know what to do. We didn't see that on our team at all. In fact, many of the teams that are operating vibrantly and have the collaboration and stuff and different people understanding what the roles are and stuff becomes less of an issue. If you have a data science team, if you look at your team and say, we're like the soccer team that was swarming the ball, it's much more likely that people become disengaged. Right? Because the same guy that's the expert on everything is doing everything, and I'm like, well, what am I going to do? I'm just going to watch it. Okay, well, maybe it's not important for me to come to that meeting or whatever, and then they'd kind of drift off the side. And so I think that forming a good team and using some of these principles will keep that from happening. If you actually got to the point where you're all just looking at each other and saying, what do we do next? Then you might want to just take a couple steps back. Are we working on the right problem? Is there a different problem we should be working on? And look at it from that perspective. Yeah, Nick?
On those lines, we suggest that you start the whole thing with brainstorming, then move into ideation, then move into mind mapping. And when you get stuck in the rut, it's a good thing to go back and figure out which of those steps,
Mm-hmm.
you really need to dive deeper.
So brainstorming, ideation, mind mapping is what Nick was saying. I was actually going to put one more slide. I was going to make 9 things for tonight, and that was about product design process, which would have hit those topics on there. Especially for those of you that are doing product design types of stuff, then those are some things that you could look at as well. But yeah, good point. Yeah. And brainstorming, by the way, is throwing lots of ideas out and not discounting anything. Okay? Sometimes people think brainstorming is throwing a lot of ideas out, and then people go, oh, that's not going to work, that's not going to work. No, you don't do any of that until you're done brainstorming, right? In one of our team meetings, we had a problem with that a little bit in the team, and so we got a water bottle and stuck it on the table. And if anyone in a brainstorming session said something negative about an idea, you could grab that water bottle and say, stop squirting my creative flame, and put it down and stuff like that. And just to make the point, right, is that no, we can do that later. We'll talk about the pros and cons later. But that idea that may seem outrageous now might blossom into something that ends up being the very thing we want to do. Okay? So brainstorming is important to that. Good. Excellent. Other questions? Okay, great. Well, thank you. Appreciate it.